Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Every once in a while, we come across a games developer who reminds us of the creative and driven spirit that typifies what we hope to see within the gaming community. Developers who show either incredible game design, dedication to their game and its quality above personal profit, or both of those aspects and more. Souls of honesty and integrity that are very much a dying breed within the games industry. Those are the diamond devs of the gaming world, and Acid Wizard Studios, the developers of Darkwood, are just such a team. Darkwood is an interesting top-down suspense horror game that stands itself apart from so many other horror games by virtue of it not having to rely upon cheap jump scares in order to be enjoyable. A game that makes use of clever tension building and tone to be able to instill feelings of apprehension within the player. I personally am not typically a fan of horror games, merely because by far and away the vast majority of them are simply bland, poorly lit, and empty hot messes that are simply not worth your time or money. However, Darkwood, even playing through the prologue alone, is enough for you to grasp how much care and attention to detail has been put into this game, and it is one of the first horror games in a very long time that I actually enjoy. The graphics are reasonably simplistic during gameplay, and the controls honestly do feel a little dated, but there's no denying this game, within the horror and suspense genre, is very well crafted, and the 4 years that the developers invested into the game's development most definitely have not gone to waste. Now, I never actually thought that a horror game could genuinely make me feel the stress of the situation, but it is so expertly conducted within this game that I have to say it's the first horror genre game that I actually thought was worth a buy. Now, I could gush over the game's virtues for an entire video, but I think we should actually talk about the developers, as they're the real gems in this particular story. Now, recently, Acid Wizard Studio posted an album of photos on Imgur discussing the history of the development of Darkwood and their own experiences with creating the game. With a team of experienced animation artists and graphic designers, they had a general lack of programming experience, but even though this would mean severe difficulties in bringing their creation to life, this team dove in headfirst way back in 2013. Now, back then, the idea was for a simple tower defense game. However, the scope of the game obviously grew and turned into something much larger until finally the team was forced to release the game into early access in 2014 for financial reasons. Development was slow, and the snail's pace of development began to affect the game's reviews, churning slowly but inexorably toward the negative. However, the team persevered until the game has reached the point that it is now a full feature release, and it is phenomenal. And the reviews of the game have sharply turned upwards in response to the care and crafting that has been put into this game. Acid Wizard Studios now saw themselves facing a problem that most developers encounter once the game was released, but gamers rarely hear about this, and that is the flood of emails from people attempting to fraudulently pass themselves off as games critics in order to obtain a Steam key for the game that then is sold through the gray market via sites like G2A and Kinguin. These scammers make it extremely difficult for developers to be able to send keys to legitimate critics or to people that they simply want to help out. And the reason why I specify that last part is because in this Imgur posting, the developers stated the following. When we read the explanation from someone who wrote that he needed the refund because he didn't want his parents to be stressed out when seeing the bill at the end of the month, well, it made us feel quite bad. Because of these reasons, the developers decided to do something surprising. They didn't do massive key giveaways, they didn't slash the price of their game or do anything funky like that. No, they decided to go a different route. They decided to put the game up via torrent on Pirate Bay, DRM free. No catch, no missing content, no nothing. It is the full and complete current version of the game. All that the developers ask in return is that those that avail themselves of the torrent consider purchasing the game at some point in the future, perhaps through a sale on either Steam, GOG, or Humble. They specifically ask that you do not purchase the game through a third-party gray market site, stating, by doing that, you're just feeding the cancer that is leeching off this industry. And I 100% agree with Acid Wizard Studios in this. The gray market is most definitely a cancer feeding off of the industry. More often than not, the developers do not receive any money whatsoever for the keys sold on these sites, and there are numerous times where these keys have actually cost the developers money as they were purchased via stolen credit cards, which then they suffer chargeback fees. Sites like G2A and Kinguin make ridiculous sums of money off of the backs of developers, and I, for one, am extremely happy to see these developers identify the problem they faced appropriately and took steps to resolve it, caring more that someone simply play their game and refusing to feed the gray market machine. Acid Wizard Studios has shown a dedication to their game and an even deeper dedication to wanting people to enjoy it in spite of any potential financial harm that posting a torrent to the game might actually do to them. And on top of it, they have produced a game that is, for all intents and purposes, quite good and well worth its $15 asking price. So if you are a fan of horror games with crafting elements, give Darkwood a look. And now you can even download the game, see if you like it, and if you do, then please go purchase it legitimately. Developers who behave in such a fashion are far too few and far between, and their actions should be encouraged and rewarded. As such, I'm extremely happy to include Acid Wizard Studios into our list of diamond devs for their creation of Darkwood, and I hope that their future is a bright one. But as always, please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.